Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Ellie and this is Powerful Imperfection, where we talk about all things personal finance, paying off debt, and financial independence, or at least that's the eventual goal. Today we're going to talk about the January budget review. Before we start, I just want to ask that you give it a thumbs up if you like this kind of content, and please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. So we'll jump into the January budget. Okay, so this is the January budget. Now, I didn't do a full budget planning for January earlier. So I'll kind of go over how it was planned and then the actuals. So the income that I was working with came from the December 13th budget and the 27th. And then there was also a beginning of the year bonus that I received. So that's why this amount was a little bit higher than normal. How I budgeted, just like the other video, it's kind of a standard budget layout that I have for each month, but the rent ended up being $930 instead of $950. So I was under by $20. The electric, I budgeted $100, came out to be about $58. So I was under by $42. The groceries, I budgeted $260. I did have some money left over, so 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, $22. So I'm still going to take the whole $260, but the $22 will just be moved forward just in case there's something that I want to stock up on, or there's a really good sale, something like that. I want to be able to take advantage of it. So that 22 will just go to February. So I'm still going to charge it as if I took the whole 260 and had no rollover. Car gas, 120. I actually spent 70. So I was under by almost $50. Laundry, again, I budgeted 60. This one's still a work in progress. So I ended up only having to use $30 of it. So I had 30 left over. Part of this was because I consolidated some of my change at the end of the year and took out all of the quarters from that. I also used all of the quarters that were left over from any kind of groceries or things that I paid cash for. So there was quite a bit of money going into the laundry that made it that I didn't use the rolls. So I'm still going to charge the 60. Like I said, in the February budget, if you haven't watched that video, I'll link it in the description. But basically, I'm just going to take this 30 and move it to February since it's a long month. So again, I counted it as a 0. So adding up just the 3 pieces, I was under budget for my 4 walls by $112. Moving on to the priority list, I sent everything to charity that I wanted to. The cell phone, like I said in February budget, it was under by 18 cents. Not entirely sure what happened there, but I'll take it anyway. Internet was the same. My student loans for the minimum payment is $556. And then the gym, I had budgeted $344. I canceled the second gym that I was going to go to, and they told me that they were going to charge me the $49 year annual charge, and it never actually came out. I waited a few weeks before I just finally crossed that out of the budget. So I actually only spent $295, so that was under by $49. So the priority list, I was under by $49.18. Sorry. And then the miscellaneous category, December being holidays and that sort of thing, I did overspend by $29.15. So I rolled that into the January budget and just took out that money from there. Not the best way of doing things, but it is what it is. Nothing's perfect. So blow money and restaurant money, I did take those out and nothing was left over. Miscellaneous, I didn't budget anything. This is kind of unplanned expenses. It was $130.81. So that was over budget. So the total miscellaneous was over budget by that amount. So let's take a look at what those charges were. So I just kind of put it on a post-it here. So the miscellaneous charges, I had some family come into town and we did some shopping and some eating, so that was part of it. The sub shop and snacks were actually at my side job. I didn't plan well enough for lunches, and so I ended up paying for those, and it wasn't in my budget and I didn't have cash, so it just came off of my debit card. And then the electronics charges, those were to upgrade my memory in my phone and then buy a fan. So that's what those two were. Thought I was going to come down with a cold, and so I paid $20 in medicine and Kleenexes and everything. It ended up being allergies. So, but I kept all of the meds and everything just in case something comes up later in the winter. So that's how I came to the 131 in miscellaneous charges. Going into February, big thing I'm trying to do is make sure that I plan ahead for my shifts so that I don't have these sub shop and snack charges. Those were kind of the ones that, had I planned, I would have been able to not be over budget quite as much. So I'm planning for that going forward. So let's go back to the budget. Okay, so going back to the budget here. So total expenses that I had planned for was $2786.64. I ended up spending $2756.11. So that was under budget by $30.53, even though I had gone over in the miscellaneous category. So I had expected an income difference minus the expense was $1593.36. So I went ahead and I paid off my first loan of my second degree, and that total was $1,482.84. I paid that on by the 7th to get that balance to zero. So yay, another loan paid off. Okay, and as you know from the February budget, I tend to leave a little bit extra for the end of the month just in case there's some kind of charge that I don't anticipate or something like that. So I have left $110.52 left in the budget after paying off that loan, just in case there was some kind of extra charge that I hadn't planned for. I ended up having the actual expenses and the income come to a difference of $1,623.89. So after paying off that first loan, I ended up having $141.05 left over. So that's what I'm paying toward my second loan of my second degree today. So at the beginning of the year, I always do some recalculations, kind of assess what my monthly charges are. Are there things that I'm not utilizing? And so some of the changes that I made going into January and through January was that I canceled my Netflix. My apartment charges $60 per month within my rent that I can't get out of for cable TV. So I'm already being paid for that. I would personally rather not have the $60 charge and just do Netflix or some kind of streaming service. But for now, I'm just going to cancel Netflix. So that saves me $13 a month. I also was paying for EveryDollar Premium. I love that app to be able to make budgets and that sort of thing. And the premium linked my bank accounts to the app. However, I did find out that an app called Mint was able to do that for me. However, it won't let me budget ahead. So I can't start my February budget until February 1st. So I have to kind of finagle the app to do what I want it to do. So I'm still using EveryDollar to budget, but just the free version, and then actually getting all of the transactions and everything within the budget on the other app that's free. So that saved me $10 a month. The second gym was going to charge me $12 a month starting this month, but I canceled it, so that saves me $12 a month that I had anticipated. I also converted my restaurant and the blow money that I used to pay myself every month into a sinking fund. I realized that this money I was actually using just because it was there, and I was using it for other things than what it was actually allocated for. So I'm just experimenting to see if I make it a sinking fund, if this will make it that I'm not paying this amount every single month toward those expenses. So those are some changes that I made in January to save myself some money each month. And then also at the beginning of the year, I take a look at my sinking funds, which are in my savings account, as well as my emergency fund, and just make sure that I'm actually have the correct amounts in there, the correct funds that I want for the coming year. And so whenever I rebalance that, I came up with a difference of $1,400 that I could free up. So I used that to fund those 2 new sinking funds. I paid for my tax prep for the year, and then the state taxes, I already filed my taxes, so the taxes that I owed to the state, $234. I have some continuing education that I have to do, and that was $50. And then the rest of it went to the second loan. And so I just rounded it up to $850 and paid that to the second loan of my second degree. So that is what I did with the rebalance. So that is pretty well it for the January budget review. Overall, there were some things that I needed to change to be able to make sure that in the future I didn't have as much in that miscellaneous category. So hopefully in February I can avoid some of that. But overall, it was a pretty good month. Paid off one of my loans, was able to pay more toward my next loan that I want to pay off. So overall, pretty good month. Still made it under budget. So we will see how February goes. Once again, if you could, give me a thumbs up if you like this content, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one.